Welcome back, everybody. We're following breaking news out of Bronx, New York, now hearing the fatality count of 19 people confirmed dead there after an apartment fire, a 19-story apartment fire. 9 of those children, 10 of them adults. That number likely to climb as well. Want to go to Kathy Park now, who's headed to the scene as we speak. Kathy, do I have you?
Hey, Yasmin. Yep, I'm online. So I'm headed to the scene right now, as you just mentioned. And we just heard from the mayor, the newly elected mayor of New York City, Eric Adams, and he is calling this the worst fire in the city in 30 years. So let me bring you up to speed on what we know so far. So this fire broke out just before 11 o'clock this morning, and it quickly turned to a 5-alarm fire. In just a matter of minutes, firefighters were on the scene. Eventually, that number swelled to 200 firefighters. They were able to knock down the flames by 1 o'clock, so they were able to respond very quickly and get the flames under control. However, during that time, dozens of people were injured. Initially, the number was closer to more than 60, but we do know that there are some fatalities. As you mentioned, 9 confirmed dead. That number includes 9 children, 10 adults. And officials earlier today said that victims were found on every floor. This is a 19-story building, over 100 units. Right now, obviously, the cause of this fire is still under investigation, but officials were saying that the fire started somewhere on the second or third floor, and there was an open door. And it, obviously if the door was closed, the fire wouldn't have spread as quickly as it did. So they're going to be looking into that. But obviously a lot of witnesses were on the ground. Here is one witness who we spoke with just a short time ago who described what they saw. Take a listen.
I went upstairs to fix breakfast, and I noticed smoke coming inside the door, black smoke, and then I just heard people screaming, "Help, help, help!" So she was downstairs, and I immediately called her on the phone and told her, "Jade, it's a fire." And we just hovered in the back room and things, and next thing we know, that we see flames coming out the back windows and stuff, and things. We smelling the smoke, and then next thing we know, the whole upstairs in my apartment is black. We hear the fire department breaking in the door to come get us. We had to climb out the window and everything.
You went down the ladder?
We came down the ladder.
What was that like for you?
Oh, very scary. Oh, God, Jesus, help us.
So you heard there, Yasmin, just kind of the panic and shock in her voice. So I am just a few minutes from the scene. It looks like they've already closed off a lot of roads here, so I'll try to get a little bit closer to see exactly what is happening. As far as the investigation, it's still pending. As I mentioned, they're looking at the second or third floor as to possibly where the fire broke out. Most of the injuries, obviously, a lot of people were taken to various hospitals in the city. They suffered smoke inhalation. So obviously that is something that we'll be following up on as well. But once again, 19 confirmed dead, 9 of those being children. Yasmin?
Just horrific. Kathy, I think a lot of questions right now as to why so many people died so quickly in this fire, right? And I actually just spoke to the mayor who we had on, and I asked him specifically about fire alarms, what type of infrastructure they have inside the building to warn residents if, in fact, there is a fire. And we just heard the sound you played of that woman. She didn't mention hearing any sort of fire alarm. She just heard people screaming, and then she heard firemen breaking in. Do you know, you may have not looked into this or not, you don't know the answer to this, and if you don't, just say it, which I know you will, but do you know about the infrastructure in this building? Do we know if they had any PA systems or if they had any working fire alarms?
That is a question I'll pose to the officials on the ground, Yasmin. At this time, I don't have the answer to that, but obviously that is top of mind, and we will be, posing that question to them. But we do know this was a huge apartment complex, over 100 units, and a 19-story building. Like I said, I'm still a few minutes away, so I'm not sure exactly what the structure looks like now. But the fire spread quickly and did a whole lot of damage.
Ugh, just awful. All right, Kathy, I'll let you get to that. I appreciate you jumping on with us. Please check back in with us once you're able to kind of make contact with folks there and get a sense of what's happening on the ground. But for now, Kathy Park, thank you. So we're going to continue to follow this breaking news out of Bronx, New York. I just want to reiterate the numbers that we are getting in now, the confirmed fatalities that Kathy was just mentioning and talking about. 19 people confirmed dead in this apartment building, 9 of them children, 10 of them being adults. This was a 19-story building in Bronx, New York, which is a borough of New York City, if you're not from this area. The fire starting around 11 a.m., and they got it under control by around 1 p.m. I think one of the big questions, the kind of overarching questions in all of this is what type of warning residents had in this building? How is it so many people died from this? What Kathy was saying was a 5-alarm fire, and that's going to be one of the questions that we're going to be asking over again to so many authorities as we kind of try and piece this thing together.
Ladies and gentlemen, when I saw this story, my heart sank. It really did. And the news coming out from this fire has been a true tragedy. So 19 are dead. Out of the 19, 9 are children. And 63 are injured. 32 suffered severe smoke inhalation, and there's still like 13 people clinging to life. They had life-threatening injuries. So this is a fire that broke out at an apartment complex in the Bronx at around 11 a.m. Sunday morning. And this was at the 333 East 333 East 181st Street. So, and they said this part of the Bronx is called Tremont. Wow. So the cause of the fire is a space heater. It is such a tragedy. And we see these fires occasionally, sometimes they're not that big, but this one ended up turning into something massive. So, wow, and just only a few days ago, there was a big one that broke out in the city of Philadelphia, where 12 people were killed, and out of the 12, 8 were children. And I saw that one here locally. So, people are giving their accounts of what happened, and the fire department is saying when they got there, the halls were already engulfed in flames. Wow. Wow. So many of them had to, they had oxygen tanks, and their oxygen tanks the firefighters had on became empty, and they still had to go through the smoke. So the residents described the events that unfolded traumatizing as they escaped from the building during the fire. Wow, we stayed until there was firefighters, and they were able to guide us out. This is one of the residents at the apartment, Phantom. So, wow, my prayers to these folks. I mean, what can you say when you see something like this? I mean, words are never enough. But I do pray for the family, and I hope the ones that did survive can find another place to live. And my prayers, especially to those children that lost their lives. I mean, what a terrible way to go. So they said this was a 4-alarm fire. Mm, mm, mm. So I guess, in the coming days, as they get to investigate how this whole thing began, we know it's a space heater, but, I'm sure there's going to be more details coming out on this. But my prayers to all the people that lost their loved ones in this fire, and a special prayer for those 9 babies that died. Please leave your comment and subscribe. Don't forget to hit on the notification bell, and I'll see you on the next video. Peace, family.